You hear me now? There we go. Now it's working. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know why. That ended up being something fluky. I had the same thing when I was changing something else the other day, and my it wasn't coming through on the sound. Hopefully now you can hear me though. Uh, great, great. But yeah, basically what I was saying is I like the London opening because there's so many fun traps and so many ways that you can get to a quick early checkmate. Uh, I'm gonna go over. Yeah, I apologize. I apologize, everybody. Now we should be good though. Um, but but yeah, one of the fun things about this is if you were so as I was saying for some of the beginners out there, these four squares, D4, D5, E4, and E5, you look to control the center of the board. With the London opening, starts off D4, Bishop F4, E3, Knight to F3, Bishop to D3, Knight to D2, and Pawn to C3. It looks so complex, but it's really not. That's the typical setup. But in some of these others, you'll see where we don't play that exact setup. We deviate a little bit from it, but still the same thing. And this one will speed through. So as you can see, we're getting the setup. In this one, they're trying to play what's known as a copycat variation, which runs into a really fun trap. Or I should say, it can run into a really fun trap. Lately, I've been seeing people that play, I guess you could say, more of a good move against it, but it hasn't been, so I haven't really had a lot of people fall into it lately, but I did get a couple of people recently to fall into something like it. So as you can see, we're starting to get our typical setup with the pawn structure. Bishop is able to come here, although it would get traded off, and then knight. But in this one, usually once we get something like this, if they played this, we actually bring the queen here. And the reason for it is to try to target this. I know that right here it doesn't look like the queen is attacking the knight, but it does. And you'll see that here very, very, very shortly. But it also attacks the king. So now we see this. If they push it down, which is what we want to protect it, which is what a lot of people would do, it runs into this. And this is what we were aiming for all along. If they don't play this move, then usually we kind of come back and we rethink our thoughts and try to redo everything. Hey, thanks for the follow, J&G. And so from here, if they played this, which is what we really, really, really want, we have a very good move. Knight to E5. Hitting the queen, putting pressure on this knight again, and from there, it's it's just lights out. Because if they go here, we take it this way, and now the queen is dead. There's nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go for that queen. Queen goes here, we've got this. If it goes here, we've got this. Oop. And if it goes there, we've got this. So the queen is all and all rights dead. So a lot of times when we go here, queen's gonna have to go here. If it does, we take here. Now, the only good place for the king to go is right here, which leads into this. And then the king has to go here, and then we can get this. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. The other reason is if they go down, I encourage everybody to look for it. but it is a forced mate in 2 in this position. White has forced mate. I want to see if you guys can find the moves that basically run into checkmate for white. I'll give you a couple of moments to find it. So if you found it, great. It starts off queen check. There's only one place for the king to go. And now knight is checkmate. You're covering all of the squares. Nowhere to go, nowhere to block. Uh, thank you. And so it's just game over. So that's one of the reasons why this variation is so much fun. It just leads to such a quick checkmate a lot of times. For the uh, there's some more like one of the mainline traps can run into so this is more of the mainline where they push this pawn to control the center as well as controlling with all of this. And anytime that the bishops are aligned, oop, like this, typically for white you play back to open up here in case they do take, so that you get the open rook file with your bishops and your queen at some point coming in for a mate if they ever castle this way. And so as you can see, this is the typical setup for the London. This move is not really a typical move, and this actually runs into a really fun trap. Now, typically the reason why the knight moved back is so that if they ever take it with the knight, we don't take back with the pawn, uh, being able to fork the bishop and the knight, which I get a lot of people that leave the knight here, and maybe not in this exact position, but they do have these pieces here. And what ends up happening is they'll end up taking, and then you take here, and now this is supporting it. And now they're being forked. And it's just forked up for them. So anyway, so that's typically why they move this one back, is so that that doesn't happen. And then we take in hopes that they take with bishop. We really want them to take with the bishop. If they take it with the queen, then everything changes. But if they take it with the bishop, then we get a really nice setup. Because now we're basically going to walk the queen. As we take and take. And this seems unprincipled because we are sacking the bishop. But the sacrifice leads to something really fun. Because now queen comes check. And now we get this move. Now, can anybody see why this move is so strong? We're threatening to go here, controlling this with the mate, as well as controlling the escape square here. And black cannot take the knight because it is pinned to the queen. That's what makes this move so dangerous. And so this is pretty much one of the fun mainline traps. I've actually never gotten anybody with this, but I have seen a game or two with this exact variation. Uh, I forget which two grandmasters were playing with this, but this was a grandmaster game, and in fact, you might be able to find it in the Lichess database. Uh, in fact, yes, I believe it was the Shanklin-Komsky game, if I remember correctly, that had this exact variation. Uh, and so it was really fun to see. If people play the Indian game, which is typically D6 and sometimes D5, it's usually like this, and that's usually the Indian setup, as well as a little bit of the modern defense usually incorporates it too. I play something slightly different in my setup. Um, you still play this. This is pretty much the start of the London. So if you play these two moves, you're playing a London. Let's see, was that use coder? Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Let's see, now instead of us normally playing knight to d2, we're actually playing knight to c3. So again, like I said, it's a little bit of a different setup, but the reason for it is we're kind of controlling this square and this square in case they ever decide to try to push down on us. And now this move, I like to play it because I like to go h4, h5, and it looks like you're giving up a pawn, and you are, but it comes with a really nice attack. And sometimes I'll usually play this to add even more pressure to the scope before I play this. And if they do something like that, we can trade and fall back. And if once they play this move, well, any move really, if they come here, then we can play this. I've even had it before where we'll just make a nonchalant move where we did this. I've had them come here, and after this they take, and then you can do this, and it's just now the bishop's dead. Takes, and it looks like this is all beat up and whatnot, but in all honesty, we were going to castle to the queen side anyway in this variation, so it's perfectly fine for us. The rooks have the open files now. It just leads into a very beautiful game. Uh, but going back, now we're going to play h5, and you're about to see why this is so dangerous. Because we actually give up the rook for the knight. And if anybody remembers, rooks are usually more valuable than a knight. In the middle game, the rooks are not as valuable as knights and bishops. So giving it up is okay, especially for the attack that you're about to see. Because once they take it, you'll notice our queen is now aligned. We've got bishops aimed at the king with this. We can get our knight to quickly come up. We're ready to castle queenside, although king really goes here to the c square. And this knight can come hopping over really fast, and it just creates one massive attack. And once they see this, they're usually not sure what to play, especially at the lower levels, because they're like, I was not prepared for this. And most lower level players are not going to be prepared for this type of attack. The I'd say around the 1500 and up, most of them will be ready, but some of them are not quite ready. I have a lot of success with this. And now there's just, if they end up playing like this, there's not much that they could really do here, except for trying to get out. And you'll notice that there really is no way out. There is a way that black can actually play against the London. So I will show you a variation that basically runs into a trap against the London, but use it at your own risk, as it can be considered dubious to do, which dubious just means bad. So, and in this, once they play this, we can storm h5. By doing so, we're starting to cut off the squares here. But in all honesty, this only works if the next move they play is this. If they don't play this and they play the knight, then there is no trap. But if they play this and not the knight, then it runs into the trap. So now we played this, and typically they're going to take here because they're not going to. They usually won't take it with the bishop. They usually take it with the pawn. So once they do, now we get this move, and you'll notice queen covers it. So a lot of them go back, and then we just push up, and now the bishop's dead. Because regardless of what they do, we get the bishop. There's nothing that can stop it. But you'll notice now the queen has a beeline here. Bishops can come out to here to come down. I mean, this whole side is really exposed. None of our pieces are developed, besides the pawns that were well over pushed and overextended now. So even though we get the bishop, we mess up this side. And the engine will say that even though black is ahead, we're not fully. I mean, we're only ahead two and a half, which is basically one piece, but you have to be really, really, really careful as black because you can get into some really bad trouble. As I have gotten into trouble before using this to get the piece, but it didn't always work out. Um, this will show you a really fun game that I played where, if you remember back on the main line that I was kind of, or I'm sorry, not the main line, but one of the things I showed you where we're happy to open this H file. There's a couple of games I'm going to show you that show you why we like to open that file. And this is one of them. So he came here attacking my bishop or attacking my knight, pinning it to the queen, so that if I ever move it, he gets my queen. So of course I didn't like it, but he took the knight, which probably wasn't the best thing. Um, but it wasn't the worst thing either to go ahead and remove it. But I've still got my other knight coming out. My bishop is going to come out. I'm still gonna employ my normal setup and try to get this file, which is what I want. And so as you can see, I came back just like I said. We bring it back, hoping to open up. And as you can see, we're still developing, still trying to bring out our pieces. Now here we have to take, because if he pushes down, now he's got the fork, and we just lose a piece. So we definitely don't want to give up material. So in this position, we're forced to take. And he actually took it with the bishop. He should have taken it with this. If he would have taken here, we would have just dropped back one. Or, I'm sorry, we would have been forced to take it because the knight would have been double attacking. So he would have actually been forced to take it. But since how he took it with bishop, we were able to play a little bit different, and we went ahead and castled As you can see, I castle queenside, aligning the rook with his queen, because you always want to align your rooks with their queen, if at all possible. And in this variation, I was able to do it. And he went ahead, took, which is what I wanted, because now, as you can see, the file opens and I have a beeline for it. The only thing is we just have to remove this knight from defending that square. And when he went there, this move was rather annoying because it does attack this. But coming here now, I'm defending it. And this move was exceptionally bad because it gives us a pawn. Because after we take, take, now we have this threat. But on top of this, we're looking at this. So in this position, he has to basically give up the queen. And if he doesn't give up the queen, then it's a checkmate. And he ended up deciding he wanted to keep his queen. And yeah, so he moved here to save the queen, and I moved here to say checkmate. And this is why we like to keep that file open. Oop. Thank you for the follow. And this will actually show you another variation of that same thing. Uh, uh, Basically, with me playing against that Flataku guy, this is another one that's literally the same exact variation, but without the a lot of the trades. And yeah, this was one I played on a on another account over on chess.com and imported it here. So yeah, the ratings, as you can see, are a lot lower, but but this is why you can use it. This is one of the fun things about the London with lower level players, is they don't always see the bad intentions that can come. This night we move it here, expecting takes, and we take it back with the pawn, hitting the, oh, excuse me, hitting this to move it away, to hopefully move it here. Well, actually move it anywhere really, but preferably moving back after he castles, which he did. And so now I actually only made this move just to get him to castle without giving away everything that I was trying to do. And so once he took, I just fell back. And so now here is where he castles. I didn't care about that pawn. I just wanted this position. And in this position, it's forced mate in 6. And you do end up sacrificing a piece for it. But I want to see if anybody can find it. If you can, congratulations. You're now thinking like a master level player. If you can see the mate in 6. Um, so let's thank you for the follow, Sharp. But let's see if you can find the mate in 6, because it is there. It's a forced mate in 6 in this position. All right, so the mate starts with this. The only place the king can go is here. So after this, we come back. You can really bring it anywhere along this line. It really doesn't matter where you stop it because it cannot be taken. Thank you. Yes, I aim at trying to assist new players in learning basically just piece development and looking for some simple tactics that you can apply. And there's going to be some games that I'll show before I take some challenges, and you'll see some really fun things. Like the next game is intense, and you won't be disappointed with it. I guarantee you it. But like we said, going back here, he has to move here. And once he does, we can really go anywhere along this line. It doesn't matter where you stop because every square is okay. It doesn't matter because he cannot take it because he'll be in what's known as a discovered check because the rook is now attacking it. So I went ahead and I just pulled it all the way back. And as you can see, the knight is attacking it again, but it can't do anything about it. The king is forced here. And now here comes the incredible rook sacrifice. He has to take it. And now we bring out the queen. And in this position, my opponent resigns because mate is inevitable. It is a forced mate in six. He realized it, and believe it or I had actually pre-moved all of these moves because of the fact that there is no stopping it. So once I got queen h5, he realized it's checkmate, it's forced, and there's nothing he can do about it. And this is the beauty of having the open H file. And this is what a London player would aim to get in almost every game, but it almost never happens. And now here is the game that I promise will not disappoint anybody. Yeah. Wait till you see this one. If you thought that one was great, this one is even better. Um, I was playing this one in a if on my account on chess.com. So to go back and to answer your question, uh, yes, you can. I'm sorry, wrong game. Yes, you can, but the problem with it is a lot of times uh, when they come back and you do this, once they move here, if you bring this out, you'll notice that they can actually run away. They can push this, and then this move isn't made anymore. So the forced mate, even though you can bring the queen out, it doesn't force the mate because they have an escape square. So like something like this, and now they're out. So by dang it. So by us giving up the rook, it forces the mate because now they're forced back over onto the H file, which then allows the queen to deliver the check, which forces them back, and now we come up with it for the mate so that there is no escape. Because if they don't do it, oh no, not a dumb question at all. No question is dumb here. Mm-mm. I will never say anything bad. There are no dumb questions. Not everybody sees it. And to be honest with you, when I first did this and I first got this variation, I did not play the rook sack. And when I went back to analyze the game, and they said that my queen here was not the best move, and that they actually had a chance to avoid it. I looked and analyzed and saw that the rook sacrifice is really what sets this whole thing up and forces the mate. And I was just like, wow, I need to remember that. And so there were so many times that I got this uh, in my lower level games on chess.com, and a buddy of mine who was much higher rated than me was like, he was always laughing every time he would see this because he was like, wow, I can never get a game like that when I play this, but I would get it a lot. And so yeah, it's pretty great to see. So the rook is really what is necessary in this one because you can bring the queen h5 out, but just remember that it wouldn't be a forced mate because they would be able to escape. So the rook sack leads it to where it is forced and there is no escape. And now for the game that a lot of you have been waiting for. So it starts off typical London. I was playing it on my main account on chess.com, and the ratings system is a lot different there than it is on Lee Chess. So my rating is a little bit lower there than here. I forget what my rating is right now on chess.com. I've had some bad days of playing lately. Thank you, 3 a.m. King, for the follow. But basically, we went into uh, a standard London setup. Other than this move, I don't recommend this move so early. It definitely weakens the king side, especially if you're ever planning to castle that way. So I really would not play this so early on. It's not a horrible move, but it does kind of weaken that side a little bit. So if you're going to play it, I would play it after I've castled and developed a little bit, and maybe push this down to kind of create a nice little wall, especially if your bishop is here to help really protect the dark squares that are weakened. But I would probably not play this so early. So I went ahead and played here. Was hoping to get something like this, attacking that, moving it out of the way, but he moved back. And originally I was coming out. I'm not sure exactly what my original plan was, but after that move, I was like, okay, there's no real attack. There's nothing really going on over there. In all honesty, this was basically a wasted move. It was a simple check, and now we come back. I guess you could say it wasn't really a wasted move because we did create this weakness. I mean, yeah, it gives him a nice pawn structure, but we moved the pawn. Uh, I mean, it is what it is. But he went ahead and castled. I brought the queen out. I'm not ready to castle to either side yet. Probably going to castle queen in this, or at least that's how I was thinking it. Uh, and this move attacks this pawn, so now castling makes a lot of sense as we defend the pawn. Um, this move didn't scare me, and in fact, I went ahead and initiated my own attack, keeping the knight defended. And I took this way and not this way as I don't want to expose the king to any kind of troubles. And I'm not worried about trading off my knight as this pawn will come here and just create all sorts of chaos against my opponent. Uh, Now he starts to push on my queen's or on my queen side where my king is. It's honestly coming just a little too late as my attack is already there. My attack is already hitting. His attack hasn't even come yet. So as we can see, this knight is in jeopardy. And even after it takes, what I missed was the computer was saying for me to go ahead and take here. If I take, he takes, I take again. and I get two pieces for this piece, and I can get the pawn and this pawn here. It's just going to create all sorts of chaos. But I went ahead and I took here and allowed him to go there, attacking this, and this is where it starts to get really fun. And so from here, he takes, I take, and now I double up. And after this move, it is now a forced mate in five. If I remember correctly, I think it's a forced five. See if you can't come up with the sequence that starts the mate in five. And I will say that it's not every day that you play this move, but the start of the mate in five that is literally unstoppable is this Queen F6. Who would have thought that giving up the queen would run into a mate? Now, at first, I have to say that I almost discounted this. I saw it immediately that I could play Queen F6. I'm the type of player that I'm always looking to sacrifice material for an attack. And when I saw that I could sacrifice the queen, I almost didn't do it because of the fact that I was thinking, okay, I was thinking queen takes, and I was like, okay, what can he do? I was like, oh, he could push this, and then if I come here, he runs, and but I forgot that he wouldn't be able to run here because the pawn. He also wouldn't be able to get here to this square because the bishop is still controlling it. So even if he did push it, it wasn't going to matter. So I almost discounted it, and he didn't see it, and so of course he took. I took back, and now this this is really just the engine will tell you that the mate in five is this move is included in the mate in five to give up the queen because if you look at the position, it's mate in one. No matter what, in this position, it's mate in one. There's nowhere for the king to go. He can't come down, and regardless of what we push, it's it's just mate in one. There's it's just unstoppable. And who would have thought that looking at this position, that this was going to be the ultimate move and the ultimate sacrifice to set up a checkmate. I just thought that this game right here was just utter brilliance and a complete work of art. If anybody likes chess, this is a game to look at and say, this is why we like to play it. You give up the most valuable piece on the board and deliver a checkmate. But yeah, this was the game. And another piece of it, not really a piece of advice, but more just to go over some basic etiquette. The gentleman that I played, or at least I'm assuming it was a gentleman. It very well could have been a young lady, but if you're losing a game, do not offer the draw to your opponent. My opponent in this game did offer me a draw, and this once we got to this position, he offered me the draw, and of course I did not accept it. But if your game is a losing game, don't try to offer a draw. It's really bad etiquette to do. Just accept your defeat, analyze your game, and move on. But do not, do not try to ask for a draw. It's highly looked down upon. But yeah, this and so if you look at the engine is going to tell you It's mate in two because they want you to for black to take, us take, and now regardless of what move he makes, it's mate. So that was the ultimate game. A couple other things to go over. I'll show in my studies that I've got. In fact, most of you are I'm sorry, a couple of you should be added to them. But my England gambits. So a fun game that I played. I actually have it set up as an interactive lesson, uh, but we'll kind of go through the moves. So this was an England gambit declined. So just so so everybody is aware, the England gambit is this. They play d4, we play e5. They take on e5, and now we've given up the pawn, but we actually kind of, I guess you could say, accelerate development per se. But there's some traps into it if they're unprepared for it. But but yeah. So, but in this one, they declined it and pushed past, and so and now they're trying to reinforce the center as they should, because once we've kind of given up the center, they should aim to control the center. Now that we're no longer occupying it, they should try to take it over. And in this game, it really just led to something really, really, really funny, and it's a prime example of why you should not pre-move if your opponent has alternative moves. But we'll get into that in here in a minute. So so here, as you can see, I'm just trying to regain my control over the center a little bit, and so now in this position, we go ahead and take. So black has a great move here, and I implore all of you to see the move that black can play that wins two pieces for one. I want to see if you guys can find the tactic that black can implore to basically give up one piece but get two pieces for it. And it's pretty easy to see. We take the knight, expecting, because now if they take here, we get this. And if they take here, we just take it back with the knight. And now you'll see why pre-moving can be dangerous if your opponent has alternative moves. And my opponent ended up resigning here just a couple of moves after this. Uh, because as we took back with the knight, and now my opponent, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So as you can see here, we take, and now take back, and now my opponent, expecting the knight to still be here, played queen here, but because I had moved the knight back to take it, and he was expecting queen takes, this is why pre-moving is bad, and now I took the queen too. So, in this instance, even though you'll almost never get something like this right here, you will you will get a lot of the two for one, where you take and trade this way. But my friend and I, when we saw him play the queen move, we busted out laughing because he was expecting the knight to still be here, forgetting that when I take and he takes, that I can just simply take back with this. And I've done a lot of puzzle challenges, chess.com and Lee Chess, where you run into positions like this. So, and in the French defense, there's a common tactic where you can actually win a pawn by playing like this, where you move your knight from here to here, and usually sometimes you have your white bishop here, and their white bishop is here. So you can take the pawn, and even though it's defended, they can take, but if they take, then they give up this, and now you're aligning yourself so that they cannot castle. So I have run into this tactic a few times, so I was very, very, very aware of it. And so it was just funny to see that. It made me laugh. Let's see, who sent me a challenge? Okay, cool deal. In just a few minutes, I'll get into that. Let's see, what else? One more thing to show some beginners, and this is a reason why we people will tell you when you're developing your pieces and you're starting off, do not bring out the queen too early. And this was a blitz game that I played here on Lee Chess, so it was a 5 minute game because I do play 5 minute games. I've for some reason been on a huge 5 minute kick lately, and but I have been suffering on my rating a little bit on it. My rating is now below 1600 again. I was at about what was it 16? I think close to like 1640 or something like that at one point. But one of the fun things I like to play. So as you can see, White is already trying to come out early. They're probably trying to do the four move checkmate where they bring out the bishop and aim right here. But I'm I'm so well prepared for that I just don't even worry about that. So here I go ahead and I bring up my knight, attacking the queen, gambiting the pawn, but by gambiting the pawn, I'm also accelerating my development, and you'll see that the only piece White has developed has been the queen. And now you'll see that they're coming here hoping that they can still get to this and run into the early checkmate and blah, blah, blah. So now I bring this out attacking this. And most players will see that it is being attacked and they'll move back. However, this fruitcake just left his piece there. So I took it. I mean, why not? And now this is hanging. And so why not? Um, I'm up. I'm up material. I just took two pieces for one. So why not? And so this is kind of the dangers. And now he goes there. I mean, I almost started to say this is hanging, but the knight is still protecting it. I'm being attacked, but we know I want to come here. And then he moves here, which I don't understand. I think he uh, was trying to castle, but ended up moving it one instead of two, and gave up the rook and resigned the game. But the whole thing is he's down a queen, and it was just going to go bad for him. So when you're playing, try not to play the queen out too early. Uh, I've even had it where after this and this, the queen has gone back here, which I love because now I play this, and then there's some really fun ideas because a lot of times we can take, and if they ever do this, we have this nice little nifty move, and now it's being pinned like this. Uh, Not a lot of people will bring it here. I have had a few people that do, and then they end up pushing this, and I end up developing my bishop all the way, and now there's just really nothing for them. So, but yeah, uh, but yeah, I think I had received a challenge, so let's oh, clicked on the wrong thing. Let's accept the challenge. Oh, I'm black. Okay. So we'll play a 15-minute game with 8-second increment added. Uh, and best of luck to my opponent, I guess. So we've got a D4. Hmm. What do I want to play against D4? There's so many choices to play against a D4 opening. Uh, Um, okay, let's start with this. Let's see if we're playing a Queen's Gambit. Okay, so we're not playing the Queen's Gambit. Oop, it's a king, not a pawn. Let's go here. Okay, start getting the French setup. So anybody that's aware, this is a French defense that I'm employing. Let's see, check. Let's go back. Okay, so now we've got this. Let's do this. Okay. Let's go here. Don't want to trade it. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I had to trade. Okay. Okay, let's just continue. And let's just win back our material. So anytime that you're going to lose a piece, always look for counterplay. And in this case, the counterplay was basically push and let him have the piece, but go for something else. I probably should have gone ahead and taken my piece instead of trying to be a little bit fancy with it. But I think this will be okay. All right, so now let's just go ahead and take. He's going to take here. We're going to move out. Oh no, can't go there. So takes, have to go here. Maybe take. Okay. Actually, we'll just come all the way back and I'll defend this pawn. We've created a weakness on the king side. Okay, so let's go ahead and take here, opening up this file. Putting pressure on this piece. And we can come here, bring the knight here. Okay, so now we're starting to get in a better position. It was looking frantic for a minute, but I think we're I think we weathered the storm pretty well here. So, okay, so I'm not really all that worried about that move. To always have takes. Okay, let's go ahead and take. Hmm, decisions, decisions. Let's play here. Oh, he's got to give up the queen now. There we go. There we go. Nicely converted position. Once he takes, we'll take. So I'm expecting this, this. Not sure where he's gonna go with this. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Oh, checkmate. Thank you for the game, and Virus. You definitely put up a good fight. I, if we go back and look at it, you definitely got me with the knight move. So this I really never even considered about pushing it down and trapping the bishop. I I completely missed that. That was very well played. That was such a good move. Um, uh, I basically got sidetracked of playing my own things and not really looking at what my opponent could do. I didn't even think about knight here, here, and this, and being trapped. So kudos to you to do that. That was very well played. Uh, let's see. I was gonna say where I thought the mistake was probably here. You could just go ahead and take, and uh, you know, because even after if you look at it, even after 'cause they'll probably give you the advantage by a huge margin. Yeah, you're up almost two pieces. A plus five is basically two pieces. So uh, there's this, this, and after this, then you're getting this, and you're just so much better off than the black side. I mean, yeah, the rook is active, but it's not doing much. So I would probably say that that is where you went wrong. It's not taking the pawn and getting focused on the bishop only. But I think that is probably the one of the biggest mistakes of the game. Uh, so if we go back, see it, and now you've gotten a piece, but now I can get it right back. And my mistake in this one was really not taking it back right away. I was trying to, I guess, be a little fancier than necessary, and yeah, taking here and here, yeah, it was. And after this, and coming here, and going ahead and taking, and then coming back to take, you know, and not taking this, yeah. I guess this move would have been okay, giving up the bishop for the knight, messing up my pawn structure a little bit, but uh, this actually, the reason why I would say that this is a mistake here, let's see, yeah, a huge mistake is because now you give access, the knight has access to both of these squares, allowing the queen to come out, the rook to come play at some point, bishop's gonna come out, so go in here. I mean, so this was definitely a big weakness in the match, but which is probably why I went here. I probably should have played knight to here eventually, but as you can see, we took to move the knight away. Okay, so they did say to go here, yeah. Oh, that's because the knight moved away, yeah. So I went up and came up. I was allowing this, but it would have been if you would have taken it, definitely would have put a damper on things because of the fact that I wouldn't have been able to remove the knight, which would have removed my piece from checking. So it definitely created it would have created some big tension for real. But let's see, after that, which the queen development wasn't bad. I mean, it cannot take though because of the pawn. But so probably I guess bringing it over. Well, not there, but maybe here or here. But probably coming all the way here would have most likely been the best idea. But I don't know. It's hard to really say that. Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you, 3 a.m. King. Yeah, this one, this was definitely. Oh crap, cut off of it. This one was definitely definitely a challenge. My opponent, he played so much better in the opening than me, but I was just able to take advantage of some missed opportunities, and it just went downhill quick. As after takes, now this is set up. It's also setting up for something like this, and being able to. Oop, my arrows will ever draw correctly, being able to pressure things. But one of the things I looked at was even after queen here, I still can't take because rook and queen are both protecting it. So uh, I was really trying to figure out what to do. Uh, I was seeing with the rook here, um, as we'll see once he takes, and I go here, and I went here. I know I can't take because of this, even though there's two of his. So I was really looking at bringing bishop up to here and trying to bring the check here, but it was like, what do I do? I was trying to figure it out, but then when he brought his rook over, it just it just unleashed Pandora's box on himself, and it was for him it was not pretty. For me, it was very beautiful, but man, my opponent played so good in the beginning. It definitely kept me on my toes, and I was having to try to figure out how I was gonna fight back into it because I just nonchalantly walked into such a beautiful uh, trap for my bishop. It was it was so painful to see, but there were so many things that came out of it at the end. Um, but but yeah, if anybody would like to play a game, I'm up to the I'm up to any openly fun challenges that anybody has. So let's try to keep it to 10 minutes or less. But if you want a 15-minute game, I can accommodate the 15 minutes. I prefer 10 minutes or less, but 15 will be okay. But give me just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna step out for a moment, grab some water, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got a 10-minute challenge, and this time I'm black again. So interesting. Okay, so we've played a French somewhat. The French was a interesting choice. Oh, e4. Let's see. Oh, are we gonna get it? Are we gonna get the? Are we going to? Is it gonna run into one of my favorites? I want to see. So right now we have the start of a Petrov's. Okay, so now it's the start of a 3 nights game. We could have made it a 4 nights by playing here, but I enjoy playing the 3 nights variation. Okay, so we have this. So let's stop the bishop from coming down. So now this is more of an Italian game. Let's go ahead and push up. This is how my opponent refuses to take the free pawn I was trying to offer. Apparently my opponent is aware of my many gambiting lines that I like to play and wants no part in my gambits. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take. And we'll just develop castle. We'll try to play our game here. Oh, okay. Let's take. How is he gonna take it? Okay, he takes it that way. This, this. But there's also this. Um, let's go ahead and play this. Okay, so my opponent plays that. Pretty much what I expected. Not the move I wanted, but it is what I expected. Okay, so now he goes here. Okay, let's do this. Hmm. All right, so I'm expecting this and this. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Hmm. Well, let's damage everything a little bit further. not so easy for black here. I mean, there's a couple of moves that come to mind, but even for white, white really has good position. I mean, it's not so simple for black. I mean, there's moves that come to mind, but okay, so let's start with this. Oh, we even had the rook in the corner. I missed it. So let's go here, attacking this, but we could take, take, then swings over, go back, or even here. Ah, this is complex. This is so complicated. This takes. Go here, go back. Have to do something with the rook. Don't know what though. Alright, so now. Alright, so now let's take this. Attacking the queen. If queen here, rook here. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. If queen comes down, we just take. I was thinking too defensive. I need to think more offensive. But yeah, if this, we've got this, but we might even have something else. So this, maybe this. Force the king down. Ah, this is definitely a tricky game. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take. Because if this, we just. So now once he takes, we just slide over. Okay. This is definitely a complex game. Yeah, this is what we saw. Now is where it starts to get really, really tricky. So you can do this, this. The queen's a little misplaced. Okay, so he's attacking that. I'm going to attack this. Okay, so he goes there. Check. King's got to come down. Yeah. Okay. Let's take this way. Probably should have taken it with the rook, but let me see. Very intense match. Oh. Hmm. Check. Checkmate. Oh, oh gosh. Damn. So that was a game. Another really, really, really good game by my opponent. Oh my goodness. Played so well. I'll show you guys here something in a minute with what I was trying to do. But man, we ended up in this Italian uh, Giaco piano game, is what it's called, I believe. Um, Oof. But basically, I played this preventing this. Although one of the key things I like to play instead is actually allow this, and just do something like this, allowing this. This. Sometimes they'll play here, play up, and then I like to go even more aggressive and start to take, and even here they can actually take. Oh, was trying to take back, and then after take, now they've kind of got this, but we've got these open files. So if they ever castle king side, we're we're really ready for them. But man, um, but yeah. So I played this to try to prevent this. Um, it's still going into that variation. So basically, if we played this, nah, no, nobody's an idiot here, man. No, you played a great game, very great game, Noxious. That was hats off to you, sir. Bow to you. You played it very well. Um, but I would say the the Petrov's defense, which is what we started off with. So just so that people are aware, the Petrov starts off like this. This is the start of the Petrov's defense, also known as the Russian defense. This is the start of it, which also runs into a gambit I like to play. Also ran into something that my opponent uh, did not play, which well, he was white instead of black, but he ran into a trap that black cannot play because after this and this, uh, once they move away, now the queen is lost, and yeah, learning how to play offense and defense at the same time, it can be a little tricky at times, but with work, you get there. You don't know how long it took me to get to where I'm at. I literally played this game nonstop almost every day for the last 3 years to get to where I'm at. So trust me, the grind is there. If you really want to be at my level and better, you have to play. There's no substitute for play. You can watch all the videos in the world that you want. You can study all the tactics in the world that you want, but until you actually play a game and put it to practice, you're gonna have no idea of what you're doing. But yeah, so this is a really bad trap as you can see for black because regardless of what they do, queen is lost. But I'm very well aware of that, which is why and just like my opponent who played white this game as black, I've fallen for that same trap that he fell for in one of his games that I was watching one day, and I was like, damn. To play the Russian defense, you really have to know what you're doing. You really have to know the lines. You can't just half-ass go into it and expect, to do okay because there's there's a few traps to it. I'll show what I like to play as black. He didn't go into it, but I was like, ooh, when he played e4, I was like, ooh, maybe I can get away with getting him into a Stafford gambit, but he knows not to take gambits, so. But ah, went too far. But yeah, so coming here, we're basically in the Piano Giaco, or I can't remember if it's Giaco Piano game or Piano Giaco, but either way, basically a variation of the Italian game. Um, and trading here made sense because if I fall back, I'm opening a file that really has no bearing in this game, so it was better to just take and try to create the weaknesses with the double pawns on the e file, and so that's why I went ahead and doubled them up here. Um, but solid play from my opponent because as much as I would love to play knight here, I can't do it. As much as I would love to bring my knight here, can't do it because my whole plan was really what I was wanting was bishop here, attacking this, and then trying to bring a knight up into one of these squares, but I was never able to materialize it, so it was kind of just stuck. And then playing this, it it fixes White's pawn structure. Unfortunately, I didn't want to allow him to push, uh, and also takes, and then we trade queens, and then I was like, yeah, let me just go ahead and take it. I'll fix his pawn structure, but it doesn't really do a whole lot for him. I mean, if you look, the advantage is so minor that even though White is a little bit ahead, it's not by a lot. Um, once this was played, this is really where I think if we go forward just a little bit more, so yeah. So after this, and now that I'm threatening this, I really think that moving this knight here or away, I was originally thinking, oh, if I move the knight, now you can take, that this is, but moving the queen would have probably been the better move. But just to get it out of the pin, but take and so one of the reasons why I took here, it doubles the pawns, it redoubles up on this file as I'm attacking the queen, so he has to take back. He doesn't get a chance to take here, and it just really allowed me to do this, so I could do this and just damage the pawn structure a little bit more, because now he's got broken pawns here. King's kind of in the center, or just kind of open, not much going on. And if we go forward a few moves, you'll see that me coming here, I was really coming here just to attack this pawn. Not much he could do about it. Um, and what I had forgotten about was this tactic. The whole point of me taking this pawn was to aim for this, and then I completely forgot about it. As you'll see, where I'm like, oh, I just take this, and I was like, why didn't I just take the rook? The whole point of going there was to aim for the rook. Uh, and I Okay, so going back, yeah, I mean, I didn't really see, but I mean, I actually did see taking this pawn and protecting the queen, but I didn't want a queen trade. I know the computer is saying, hey, you're up, trade queens, you're okay. I was like, no, I don't want to trade queens. Um, so I came down again, attacking the rook, protecting the queen, and now I went here to attack this, but really this was probably a bad move because now he can defend this, and yeah, so when he went there, I just went ahead and took, knowing that my king was going to be safe, but it was going to start getting a little bit dangerous if I wasn't careful, which is why I brought this. I'm just trying to get my pieces in the game. He's opened up the file for me. Um, I don't, truthfully, I don't think taking that pawn was that great of a move for white because of the fact that now black has the open F file, and it definitely in this game came into play. So it was one where once he went back, oh, they're saying it's mate and eight. There's I'm sorry, seeing an engine say mate and eight. There's no way in hell somebody at my level is going to see mate and eight. So if I see a mate and eight, I'm like, sometimes I'll try to find it, and obviously we did with the queen check. Um, and then they okay, so they wanted knight here. They didn't want the knight here. Okay, so going here actually gives gives white position, but yeah, you'll see that the game is very much in black's favor here. I mean, down a whole lot of material, and then from there it was mate in two, which I think we found pretty easily. So now I will say I did not know it was mate in two. I didn't analyze it that much. I was just seeing that, oh, it's like, okay, I can take knight protects. And at first I was like, oh, but he can take the knight. But I was like, oh, no, he can't because the rook. So I realized that he couldn't take. And now I was like, okay, now I can come here. Knight defends again. And now he has nowhere to go. So I, I didn't realize it was going to be a mate in two, but I kind of realized it after the first move. I saw that it was mate in one. But yeah, one of the things I like to play as black. Let's see. So I'll go over something really quickly before I cut out for the night. But as black, I love playing the Stafford Gambit. There's so many lines, and I'll even show you a game that I played. And I think I think the game here actually is the Oh No My Queen variation. Um, so let's see. Okay, so basically, as you saw, like M Virus and I play, this right here is the start of the Petrov's defense. It's also somewhat of the start of the Stafford Gambit, which is what I'm going to cover real quick. Um, Once he takes, we play knight here, takes and takes, and you gambit the pawn to accelerate your development because all your pieces can start coming into play and just basically if white is unprepared, then black can get a really, really, really serious uh, attack. And as you can see, now we're applying pressure here. Our move is to come here, attacking it twice, eventually probably bringing the queen to h5, attacking this and this. So, I mean, it starts to get really, really, really dangerous, really, really, really fast. Um, there's some better moves. So, in this position, I've actually shown Noxious Salsa this line once before, um, but this is known as in the famous I am Eric Rosen's uh, voice. He'll say, "Oh no, my queen," because you say, "Oh no, my queen," and if white takes, now I know Noxious Salsa knows this, but I want to see if the rest of you can find it. Black has a forced mate in two in this position. The taking of the queen was a huge blunder. So I implore you to take a few moments and see if you can't spot the win before I show you. And there is please don't cheat and look at my moves here. But to show you all, it's check and checkmate. Such a beautiful, beautiful finish. Because the knights cover everything, and so king can't go anywhere. Everything is cut off. And so this was a game I actually had. This was in a blitz game. It's in a yeah, it was a 5 minute game that I played, and the dude ran into this. And as you can see, let's see, 17 and 6. So in 23 seconds, the game was over because I was just prepared for this, and he was not. Um, some other lines that are in it are these. So whether here or here, you'll see two different versions of it. So as you can see, we're imploring what I said. We're bringing the knight, attacking the pawns. If they castle, we're bringing the queen, attacking all the pawns. And now, as you can see, when you take it, you've got discover checks. You're looking at the queen. You're looking at this. It gets really, really, really ugly, really, really, really quick. Most people play this as white. The best move is actually here. Uh, Not right away, but it's actually uh, the best move is really to do like this. and then go here. Because after something like this and this, once we play here and go back, we can't simply get this because of the fact that if we go here, then white can just take, and then when we take, they're taking back, and they're actually gaining a piece. So it's actually better for white to play queen here. Uh, but most do not do that. Most will come right here, and now we take, unleashing double check the knight and the bishop, and it's pretty much a forced mate because most will just move the king there, and we go back and again double check knight queen, so the king has to move, and then we deliver the beautiful checkmate as this is protecting the knight and knight protects queen. So there's some more that I've gathered. This is another really simple variation where if they play this, then we can play this. Um, and here we can actually kind of gambit the knight. This is a line that I like to play where we kind of gambit the knight because you can already see that we're looking at this, but most people will see the knight and they'll just remove it and will take. And now there's all of this, and there's really not much that stops it because if they do this, then it's a simple mate in one. Um, and the reason why this is mate is because this pawn is pinned to the king, so it actually cannot take back. And of course, this file being open gives the king nowhere to go. Um, so it's definitely a fun one to play. Um, and I've actually had this where they push here, thinking that they're stopping the mate, but they forget that the pawn is pinned or was pinned, and now we just move up with the mate. So that's a fun one. There's so many traps. Let's see, which one is this one? And so this one, we pretty much go here, but they could play this, but then we come here. So let's say they did this, we go here, uh, and it's actually okay for them. Just take, take, and then if they castle, we can swing over, attacking this pawn, attacking. Oh, so now we're attacking all of this. We're looking at moving the knight here at some point. So, like if they, I don't know, if they make some silly move, then we've got some, we've got some attacks. But the whole point of coming here is to bring it here, uh, just to aim at this with the knight. And so this is what's known as the Hafu variation, where you push this to push this down. So you get this to this. Uh, but as you can see, if they play it, it's going to come just a little too late with this. Um, and so as you can see with that, so as you can see, even though I showed it to you a minute ago, this is the variation of it. Uh, but let's see. There's another trap here. Now this one I believe, yeah, so this one just leads into this position where you kind of implore some fun things, but you really damage black's, or I'm sorry, white's structure. There's not much, they even though the pieces are kind of even, you're looking at this. I mean, And you can actually go back and even here, you could probably get away with something like this, but they might say that it's pretty bad. But yeah, their engine says to come here and just try to even it out. This is another line that I found. Uh, in fact, International Master Eric Rosen covered this in one of his streams or one of his YouTube videos that he made. Uh, it's a really difficult find because of the fact that you take this pawn, attacking that, giving up this for that, and after a move like this, there's just so much going on, and it just looks so much to do, and I mean, it was a beautiful work of art when I saw him actually show this variation. I can't remember if he played the game or what, but yeah, he's got a video on this. It was so amazing. I had to add it to my my study to Stafford Gambit tricks to go over and learn so that I could get more positions. But I know I've got a few of you added to my study. If any of you would like to be a member of my studies, uh, please let me know, and you can reach out to me. I'll add you. Send me a message on Leechess or something. I'll add you to it. You can look over some of them. Like I said, I've got some set up to be interactive lessons that'll show you some tactics here and there. And but yeah, some of these were like the beginner's guide, intermediate guide. They're low level games that'll allow you to go back and look at games that I played on a second account that I started just to create uh, some some content for low level players to understand some basic piece setups, basic strategies, basic tactics, and in some of them it runs into some more intermediate type of play. But yeah, if there's anything that you want to be a member of, let me know, and I will add you to it. But for now, I say good night and take care. I'm out for the night. Have fun, guys.